Lately, I've got my eye on this aloof, reserved Professor Dot to win him over. I've been racking my brains day and night. When I started crushing on other guys, the reserved professor suddenly objected. My bestie graduated from grad school, so I went to campus to celebrate Dot while snapping photos. A gorgeous guy with broad shoulders and a slim waist walked into my frame.me, heart racing, hands trembling. "Ailey, who's that?" I dropped my camera and rushed over to my friend, Noah's professor from his department. I think his name is Helly. Noah is her boyfriend, studying law. Got his contact info? Send it to me. Your slutty side is acting up again. My friend rolled her eyes, staring at me with a solemn expression. I flashed her a flattering smile. We'd grown up together since childhood. She knew which direction I farted when I slept at night. Nothing got past her. So, does this Professor Helly have a girlfriend? Nope. My bestie replied with absolute certainty. I locked eyes with her for 3 seconds, making sure she wasn't lying. Have Noah take your picture. I've got stuff to do. I tossed the camera to her and took off running. Iris, you friend-dumping, love-obsessed jerk. My bestie yelled after me. I ran even faster. Let her be the one who ditched me for Noah back then. Mr. Helly. I hurried to catch up and finally spotted his silhouette by the lake, calling out to him. He paused, slowly turning around. Closer now. I could see him clearly. Staring at his biceps straining against his shirt, I felt my nose tingle. Who are you? He looked at me with confusion, his voice carrying a crisp, mountain spring freshness. Holy crap. How could someone be this fit and have such a voice? Hi, teacher. I'm the best friend of your student's girlfriend. We're pretty close, so no need to be so formal with me. I blurted out, deploying my go-to-charm tactic to lower his guard, grinning like a fool. What's up? His tone remained polite yet distant. I sighed inwardly. Ascetic types really are impossible to flirt with. Well, teacher, I'm moving soon and worry about getting ripped off if I don't understand the contract. I was wondering if I could add you on my phone so I can ask you if I have questions. I batted my innocent big eyes, staring straight at him. You can ask Noah. He shifted his gaze uncomfortably and replied flatly. I'd forgotten about that. Noah is my best friend's boyfriend. It wouldn't look good if I asked him. I twisted my fingers anxiously as I spoke. He looked at me, his expression hesitant. It's my fault for putting you in this awkward position. I just graduated and haven't saved enough money to afford a lawyer. If I get scammed, I get scammed. I deserve it. I hung my head, speaking with dejection. My voice slowly began to choke with sobs. Just as I felt sick to my stomach, he calmly replied, All right. I was overjoyed. To avoid seeming too eager, I deliberately waited until evening to message him. Mr. Helly, are you free now? After a long wait, he finally replied, Yes, send me the contract. Simple and to the point. Suddenly, my chance to act vanished. Moving was just an excuse I'd made up to get closer to him. Since we couldn't keep talking about the contract, I tried to change the subject. Well, teacher, I haven't found a place yet. I looked at a few with the agent the other day, but the neighborhoods all seemed a bit sketchy. I'm a girl living alone, so I'm a little scared. Where do you live? How's the neighborhood? I typed furiously, sending it off. I waited. His screen kept showing typing. Just as I was about to send a question mark, the message came. The neighborhood I live in? You can't afford it. I fell silent. Ellie, is Helly really that rich? I tossed and turned all night, messaging my bestie for advice. Guys with money. So hard to chase. Need me now? Remember who I am. Instant reply. That tone. I scrambled to placate her. Cuddles, kisses, hugs, piggyback rides. Get lost. Sorted. After all these years, she still responds better to sweetness than harshness. I just asked Noah. He said their professor drives a Rolls Royce and lives in a villa. Maybe you should just give up. With only 3 apartments to your name? Impossible. Those perfectly sculpted biceps were the most flawless I'd seen in ages. I'd never let him go easily. What if he doesn't like women? My bestie sent me another bombshell message. What do you mean? Noah heard Professor Hallie say it himself. I'm not spreading rumors, and I'm sure it's true. Otherwise, how could a 30-year-old with such great credentials still be single if there wasn't something wrong? Even better, I replied, my eyes sparkling. Are you out of your mind? Keep acting like this and you'll never get married. Haha, don't worry. I sent her a reassuring thumbs up emoji. She rolled her eyes and ignored me. I knew my bestie meant well. Ever since she found Noah, this great guy, she'd been pushing me daily to find a boyfriend and settle down. But I never planned on having a serious relationship in this lifetime. After confirming Helly was loaded, I completely ditched my usual rich bitch act when chasing guys and switched to playing the fragile, broke, innocent little flower persona he fell for when he added me as a friend. Went house hunting today and got yelled at by the agent on the way. Teacher, can I sue him? Work's been crazy lately, so I couldn't just show up at school to corner him. I could only chat more on messaging apps during my free evenings to keep him from forgetting who I was. Tell me more. His reply came in under a minute. He asked if I was broke, seeing so many places without committing. Huh? How did he insult you? He yelled so loud he made me cry, and he wouldn't stop. I made up a story with deadpan seriousness. Helly sent back a string of speechless ellipses. Then he ignored me for ages. Mr. Helly? I started tapping his profile pic, patting it over and over. Just got a call. Oh. I replied immediately after he responded. How many days did he show you apartments? After a moment of typing. I'd never rented before, so I just guessed a time. After sending it, I suddenly remembered when my grandpa got me my third apartment, that agent followed him around for 3 months without a hint of frustration. I felt a bit guilty, wondering if I'd underestimated the time. Helly sent back a string of speechless ellipses. I typed a few question marks. He stopped replying. Tisk, men's hearts are truly unpredictable. Now that I'm finally grown, I can't even have a proper conversation without getting cut off. I feel like crying. I composed myself and sent another message. What can you do? You chose this path, so you have to see it through, even if it makes you cry. Helly sent a string of speechless ellipses. Me. He didn't reply. 5 minutes later, he sent me a link to a neurology hospital's website. This time, I was the one speechless. 1 week later, my out-of-town shoot wrapped, and I rushed straight to find Helly. I never expected to witness a scene at the school gate. Everyone come see this. A hooligan. A middle-aged woman in a floral dress yanked Helly's arm, screaming at the top of her lungs. Paired with his aloof, godlike features, it instantly drew a crowd. Let go! He said through gritted teeth, his expression colder than I'd ever seen. The woman wouldn't relent, still tugging at him. He couldn't take it anymore and tried to shake her off. Help! Help! Young man bullying an old lady. She fell to the ground, wailing and sobbing. But from my vantage point, I saw it clearly. Who'd have thought such a handsome guy would be a pervert? Yeah, I heard he's a professor at this university. You really can't judge a book by its cover. How can someone like that teach? We should report him. More and more people gathered around, angrily denouncing Helly. Yet he stood there, steady as a rock. No defense, no retreat. I might have fallen for a fool. Excuse me. Seeing him about to be swallowed by the crowd, I quickly pushed left and dodged right, squeezing through the gaps. Helly must have heard my voice, for he turned to look back. When he saw me approaching, his body froze for a moment. What are you doing here? Teacher, I've told you 1,000 times on the phone. Did you forget? I held up my phone and smiled at him. He regained his composure slightly. I don't have time to lecture you on the law right now. You. Who the hell are you? Before he could finish, the woman on the ground suddenly screamed, scrambling up and lunging at me. How dare you? I roared, turning to glare at her and dodging her hand as she tried to grab my arm. He's my boyfriend. I pointed at Helly. Instantly, I felt his gaze sweep over me. I straightened my spine, forcing myself not to back down. Everyone, take a good look. With a girlfriend as stunningly beautiful as mine, curvy in all the right places, do you really think you'd harass some old lady? I addressed the crowd of onlookers. They looked back and forth between me and the woman, their resolve wavering. The earlier shouts of "beat him" had grown noticeably quieter. You shameless bastard! The flower dress wearing woman seemed provoked, snatching off her shoe to hurl it at me. I dodged swiftly, but she'd feigned the attack, spitting directly at my face instead. Damn it, I hadn't regained my footing yet. Closing my eyes tightly, I shielded my face with my hands. Fool. Suddenly, I heard a soft sigh. The next second, I felt myself lifted off the ground. Someone grabbed me under both arms and moved me to a different spot. She's my student. This has nothing to do with her. Let her go first. I'll settle things with you later. When I opened my eyes again, I saw Helly's thick, muscular back blocking the way in front of me. My nose started bleeding again, completely out of control, but student? Noah seemed to be a student, right? I had absolutely nothing to do with him. Why should we? The old woman wouldn't let it go. Apparently feeling she couldn't win, she started throwing a tantrum on the ground again. I stared at Healy's immovable back, sigh. He was way too gentlemanly. Just as I pushed past him, ready to roll up my sleeves and jump back in, the crowd suddenly parted. Who called the police? Several officers approached, looking at the three of us huddled in the center of the crowd. I did. Helly answered in a low voice, stepping forward to speak with them. Before long, we were taken to the police station. Officers, you're my saviors. You must stand up for me. The moment we entered, the woman in the floral dress started wailing dramatically. We've retrieved the surveillance footage from the school gate. Once you see it, you'll know we won't let a single criminal go unpunished. The officer replied casually, walking forward without glancing at the woman. But I noticed her expression stiffen, then gradually shift into panic. Little brat. We'll see if you can keep crying in a minute. Don't go in. Just before the footage played, Helly suddenly spoke up, wanting me to wait outside. No way. An extra pair of eyes means an extra voice. You can't talk her down. I waved him off. My first time in a police station. How novel. I wanted to stay longer. No way was I leaving. Before Yuli could speak again, I hurried in behind the officer. After watching the footage, I was stunned. No wonder Yuli didn't want me to see it and hadn't defended himself in public just now. That woman groped his butt. He was the one being harassed after leaving the station. Healy looked a bit off. I quickly caught up to him. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. I held up 2 fingers and swore to the heavens. He glanced at my hand, his mouth twitched, but he said nothing and kept walking. Why didn't you think I was the one being inappropriate on the tree-lined path to the right of the road? I walked quietly behind him for a while before he suddenly asked me. The person I like couldn't possibly be mid-sentence. I belatedly covered my mouth. Fresh out of the police station, the shock still lingering, my words had slipped out before my brain caught up, hearing such lewd remarks from me. Would he ignore me now? I cautiously watched him. His gaze fixed ahead, jaw clenched tight. This is bad. Actually, I had meant to say I believed him because I knew he didn't like women. But he didn't give me a chance to explain. His strides were huge, as if something was chasing him. Mr. Helly, are you home yet? After washing up at home, I lay on the sofa eating grapes while messaging Helly. The moment his reply popped up, I nearly choked on a grape seed. After catching my breath, I finally sent him. Is that you in person? This time, he took a long while to reply. Yeah. Only then did I relax. This was the right pace. He must have been bored earlier, thinking that since we'd at least been through thick and thin together, getting dragged to the police station, we must have some bond now. The next fortnight, I rarely sent him those bizarre legal cases I found online for his input anymore. Instead, just chatting aimlessly about this and that. Have you eaten? Have you slept? Have you gone out yet? The weather's nice today, perfect for a date. Plus some utterly pointless. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good night. He replied to almost all of them. But whenever I suggested grabbing dinner or catching a movie, he'd always brush me off with how busy he was. Ellie, Helly is seriously impossible to get, I texted my bestie, feeling defeated. Back when I chased guys, it took me 3 days at the shortest, half a month at the longest. I'd always land them. This time it's been nearly a month, and I haven't even gotten to touch his biceps. So switch to someone else. What do you mean? My bestie sent me a pic of a young hottie. He was wearing a white crop top, and his biceps were just as impressive as Helly's. He was just a bit less attractive than Helly. Did you switch teams? I asked my friend in surprise. She always disapproved of my frequent boyfriend changes, urging me to settle down. What was her deal today? Noah's professor isn't into women. You'll never catch his eye. Just move on. I know this guy. He's trustworthy, a good person, and has the physique you like. Give him a shot. Who knows? You know, I don't marry. Aren't you afraid I'll waste his time? I was about to refuse outright, but then I saw those cute little fangs in the photo. My hand hesitated. He kind of hit my cute spot. He's a non-marriage type too, just like you. Maybe you two will balance each other out, my bestie replied. Still, I wasn't ready to give up on Helly just yet. Helly, are you free tomorrow? After a moment's thought, I messaged him anyway. No, he replied instantly. But sadly, it wasn't the answer I wanted. After a pause, I sent my bestie a thumbs up. Thanks to our matchmaking, I quickly added the young hottie as a friend. His name was Albert. His family seemed incredibly wealthy, and he occasionally modeled part-time as a hobby. My main job was magazine photographer. As we chatted, whether discussing professional topics or everyday interests, I discovered we shared so many similarities. No wonder Alice had been so confident in recommending him to me. Are you free tomorrow? Just as I was getting ready for bed, Albert's message arrived. Yes. Amusement park. Interested? Sure. After replying, I exited his chat and accidentally glanced at Helly's pinned account on my screen. Suddenly, it felt like a lifetime had passed. The last time I messaged him was 5 days ago. In the meantime, I'd been busy chatting with the young hottie and working, gradually forgetting about him. He hadn't reached out either. The next day, around 11 a.m., I arrived at the amusement park entrance. Albert was already waiting for me. What do you want to ride? I pointed to the carousel nearby. He chuckled softly, shook his head, and led me over. Before we got on, he thoughtfully asked if he should take my bag. I hesitated, then handed it to him. The instant he caught it, my phone seemed to vibrate. But the carousel had already started spinning. I quickly pulled my hand back. After about 4 rotations, the carousel stopped. Albert set down the phone he'd been using to take photos and walked toward me. Ready to get off? I nodded. He reached out to steady me. I instinctively pulled away. That split second stunned even me. I'm a seasoned player. How could I pass up an easy opportunity? I couldn't make sense of that fleeting reaction, nor did I dwell on it. Like before, I casually slipped my arm through his. Careful. With his thoughtful warning, I took a big leap down. I glanced at him with a defiant smile. But I didn't expect to meet a pair of emotionless black eyes behind him. I froze. How could Helly be here? What's wrong? Albert asked me. Perhaps I'd been staring too long because he followed my gaze and looked behind him. In that instant, I saw Helly's gaze shift away from my face and meet his. Just a friend. I steadied myself and replied calmly. For some reason, watching Helly's increasingly tense expression made me feel inexplicably nervous. I patted Albert, motioning for him to turn back. Oh, want to say hi? He asked me. This really isn't necessary? No need. I heard from Ellie that you like more thrilling rides. Let's go on the roller coaster together. I changed the subject. Sure. He didn't think much of it and nodded in agreement. As I turned to leave, I could feel a gaze fixed on my back. I quickened my pace until I reached the corner where the eyes vanished. Only then did I exhale deeply. Why was I so nervous? I didn't know myself. Maybe it was the natural authority that came with being called teacher. You go ahead, I'll wait for you, I told Albert. I dislike any activity that makes my heart race. Accompanying him here to ride the carousel was already pushing my limits. I'll be quick. He handed me his bag and said, as if worried I might get impatient waiting, he added softly, okay, I replied with a smile. In every way, Albert truly was the perfect partner. He was a year younger than me, yet he handled everything flawlessly, with meticulous care. But, for some reason, dating something I'd always enjoyed suddenly felt exhausting. My phone vibrated in my bag. I pulled it out and answered, so, how's the guy I set you up with? Reliable? My bestie couldn't wait to pry into our progress. He's okay. When I asked Albert, he couldn't stop raving about you. As I put my phone away, I caught a glimpse of an unread message before the screen went dark. The sender seemed to be Helly. I remembered that vibration before getting on the wooden horse. My hand froze on my bag for a long moment before finally reaching for my phone and pressing the screen back to life. Finished up work, got a few days off. Just passing by the amusement park, want to swing by and hang out? Staring at those two messages, a strange, indescribable feeling welled up inside me. What's going on with you and Albert? I'd barely woken up when Allie's calls started bombarding me. What's up? He told me you haven't reached out to him in days. He keeps asking you out, but you keep making excuses to avoid him. This situation, I snapped out of my daze. Ellie, forced relationships never work out. I advised my bestie. Tell me, are you still hung up on Professor Helly? Albert told me you've barely spoken to him since you saw that guy at the amusement park. From his description of the guy's looks, I knew instantly it was Helly. No way, I just didn't want to ghost Albert, he's such a good guy. Albert? My bestie asked, puzzled. Yep, that's so unethical. I get it. I'll find time to talk it out with him. Don't worry, Allie. Love you, bye. Before my bestie could spiral into more wild speculation and rambling, I hung up. My ears instantly felt much clearer. Free for dinner tonight? After pouring myself a cup of warm water and sipping it slowly, I messaged Albert. Sure. His reply came instantly. Staring at our chat history on the screen, I used to chase after people relentlessly, replying instantly to every message. This was the first time I'd been so passive in a relationship. Was my brain seriously malfunctioning? Not wanting to make Albert wait any longer and pile on more guilt, I quickly messaged him to confirm tonight's dinner spot and time. See you tonight. Don't be late. After replying, I stared at that cold single-word response, feeling a bit numb. Why was his attitude starting to resemble Hallie's more and more? Okay. I quickly hit undo, then sent another message. Staring at this overly fawning line, my emotions finally settled. That's right. This is me. That earlier message must have been sent by some ghost. Today we had an outdoor shoot. The location was pretty far out, on the city outskirts. I rushed to get shots, but couldn't outpace Mother Nature's sudden change of heart. Everyone, stop shooting. Get inside the house. The assistant director bellowed. The models scrambled into the house to escape the downpour. The remaining crew swiftly packed up their equipment and hurried inside too. Just this morning, the air had felt scorching hot. Now, rain poured down without warning. Watching the storm intensify outside, everyone couldn't help but sigh. They'd all hoped to wrap up early and head home, only to be trapped here by the storm. Where's my camera? After sighing along with the crowd, I realized during my check that my camera was missing from my bag. Oh, Iris, my SD card was full earlier, so I just grabbed yours to use. You weren't around and I forgot to tell you. Nick, the new college graduate, scratched his head apologetically. Where did you put it after using it? He was my protege. I wasn't short on money. Usually, if he needed something, I'd let him use it. But this camera was different. Even though he had a reason, my expression still turned cold uncontrollably. I'll look for it. Nick had never seen me lose my temper before. Now he seemed flustered too. He searched everywhere around him but couldn't find it, growing increasingly flustered. Iris, look over there. Is that your camera? My colleague Jason pointed outside. I followed his gaze. Sure enough, not far away on the hillside, I spotted my camera. Exposed with nothing to shield it, it lay there, being pelted by the rain. My mind went blank for a second. Without a second thought, I dashed outside. I ran too fast. When I reached the edge of the dirt slope, I didn't expect the rain-softening earth to give way. I sank in, losing my balance. Looking down into the 5 or 6 meter deep pit below, I closed my eyes, gritted my teeth, gripped the camera rolling down the slope, shielding it against my chest. As my legs scraped against the gravel and branches along the slope, the piercing pain made my heart sink. Suddenly, just as I was ready to resign myself to fate, someone grabbed the back of my neck. Helly? The rain was too heavy. I squinted upward, struggling to see clearly. But the figure looked just like him. Are you hurt anywhere? Through that voice clear as spring water washing over my soul, I knew it was Helly. He was crouched at the edge of the slope, asking me. His hands still clutched the hood of my sun hat. Yes, somehow, the moment he asked, the pain I'd been holding back just now became unbearable, like I couldn't endure it for another second. Feeling my body tremble, he frowned. Iris! Jason and Nick, along with some crew members, rushed over one after another. With their help, Helly smoothly pulled me up from below. Iris, I'm sorry. It's all my fault for forgetting to take your camera. Otherwise, you wouldn't have nearly fallen. Nick stood beside me, holding up his shirt to shield me from the rain. His face was pale. I couldn't tell if it was from shock or fear. Get out of the way, you idiot. Don't disturb the doctor's examination. Before I could speak, Nick was shooed aside by Jason, who approached holding 2 umbrellas. He held one over me. The other one, I looked toward Helly, who was kneeling beside my knee. His lashes were wet with rain, droplets continuously falling from his sharply defined jawline. But he didn't seem to notice. His head was slightly bowed, his entire gaze fixed on the wound on my leg. Seeing him like this, that indescribable feeling surged uncontrollably within me again. Is it bad? I wasn't afraid before. But he'd been staring at my wound for nearly 3 minutes now, not saying a word. Even someone as unflappable as me was starting to panic. It needs to be treated quickly to avoid infection. Do you have a medical kit? He seemed to snap out of it, lifting his head to ask me, looking into his dark, intense eyes. I suddenly felt intimidated. Avoiding his gaze, I turned to Jason. Do you have a first aid kit? I repeated mechanically, like a broken record. Right. How could I have forgotten that? Jason exclaimed excitedly, about to call someone to fetch it. But the words stopped at his lips. No, we didn't bring it. We used to carry it on every location shoot without issue, but this time I thought it was a hassle and didn't make them bring it. Jason's voice grew lower and lower with regret. What are we going to do? Jason was so flustered he was almost crying. The location we were shooting at was pretty remote. There weren't many people living nearby, and the only shelter from the rain was an abandoned house. There was definitely no first aid kit inside. My place is nearby. I'll take her there to treat her injuries. Amidst everyone's panic, Helly spoke calmly. He covered my injured legs with a piece of waterproof fabric he'd found somewhere, then half carried me up. Hey, Iris, do you know him? Since rescuing me, Helly had only spoken one sentence to them. I can assess injuries. Jason mistakenly thought he was a doctor and asked him to tend to me. I couldn't be bothered to explain. Besides, they didn't know about the other connection between Helly and me. We know each other, don't worry, Jason. I'll be back in a minute. Seeing them about to follow, I took the umbrella Jason held over my head and said, though I trusted Helly wouldn't blab, I feared they might ask the wrong questions. No one knew these people's tendencies better than I did. The best approach was to keep them from going, cut the gossip off at the source. All right, text me when you get there. Jason called after me, his face full of concern. Got it. I waved him off. Jason was my mentor when I first joined this magazine. He's only 10 years older than me, but he talks with such maturity it feels like he's 30 years my senior. He's more like a father figure than my own dad. Helly's car was parked nearby. He leaned down and asked softly, I'm wet. I'm afraid I'll ruin your seats. I can't afford to pay for them, I said, eyes downcast. It's not that I couldn't afford a Rolls Royce. It's just that buying one would mean eating dirt for 2 years. It's not that I couldn't afford to pay for it. It's just that I'm so used to playing the poor card in front of him. After I finished, I could feel his gaze sweep over me, his body tensing slightly. Before I could ask, he opened the back door and carefully lifted me inside. He even took the trouble to place my injured leg on the leather bench seat, preventing further injury. But after that, he didn't say a single word to me the entire ride. Men's minds are so hard to figure out. Over 10 minutes later, he carried me into the villa. While Hallie went upstairs to find the first aid kit, I half sat up on the sofa and sent Jason a message to let him know I was safe. Then I started searching the room for anything reflective, wanting to see just how disheveled I looked. But when I caught sight of my reflection in the floor-to-ceiling window, I froze. No wonder Hallie had given me that once-over before getting in the car. Wearing a blindingly bright Chanel suit while crying poverty to him, I must be a complete fool. Don't move. While I was still in a daze, Hallie came downstairs, sat beside me, and wrapped me in a fluffy blanket. I'll clean your wound first. It'll sting a bit, bear with it. He frowned slightly as he spoke, twisting a hot towel to wipe the injury clean. Okay, I clenched the sofa cover beneath me, replying with a look of grim resolve. Seeing my expression, the weight lifted from his face. Don't worry. It's just a pretty bad knee scrape. I'll apply some medicine and bandage it up. Give it about 2 weeks to heal, and you'll be fine. He reassured me softly. I nodded. How come you're so familiar with treating wounds? He worked silently on my injury, not saying a word. I couldn't help myself and started making small talk. As if I'd asked something I shouldn't have, I quickly clamped my mouth shut. All done, he said after a long while. He stood up beside me and packed away the medical kit. As he walked away, I let out a huge sigh of relief. I'll take you upstairs to the bathroom in a bit. Have a quick shower, don't catch a chill. Before I could catch my breath, Hallie turned and looked at me. Huh? Oh. Shower. Huh. I felt a bit numb again. When I came downstairs wearing Hallie's shirt and pants after showering, he was already gone. Hallie? I called out upstairs, but no one answered. I had no choice but to slowly make my way down the stairs to look for him. Hallie. I stopped on the first floor. Just as I was about to call out, I spotted Hallie's figure in the kitchen. He had his back to me, busy with something. What are you doing? As I got closer, I caught a strong scent of ginger, making some ginger soup to ward off the cold. Just as I expected. I stared at the pot filled with ginger slices, numb. I turned and slipped over to the sofa, turned on the TV, out of sight, out of mind. Ever since I was a kid, ginger has been my sworn enemy. At home, and I couldn't coexist. It's a bit hot, drink it while it's warm. Just as I was engrossed in watching SpongeBob, Lee's voice sounded beside my ear. Never before had I wanted so badly not to hear him speak. Put it here. I gestured toward the coffee table. Selective avoidance. I'll watch you drink it. Whether he saw through my thoughts or not, he didn't indulge me outright. I lifted my head to protest. But when I met Hurley's weary gaze, all words vanished. Go ahead, I reached out, accepting my fate. Including my tear ducts. Why are you crying? Hallie visibly panicked. Nothing, just a physical reaction. I waved him off, shoving the empty ginger soup bowl into his hands, eager to get him away from me. Then rest for a bit. I nodded, signaling him to hurry off. As his figure turned toward the kitchen, a rare pang of conscience struck me. You should drink some too. I called after him. He turned back, smiling in response. That smile. I was done for. What does a guy need to be that good looking for? He took a long time cleaning up. When he returned, he was dressed in the same shirt and pants as me, clearly fresh from a shower too. I should leave now, but I'd be absolutely miserable if I didn't finish this SpongeBob episode. So I plucked up the courage to ask, "Do you want to watch this?" I pointed at the SpongeBob show on the TV screen. "Whatever you like," he murmured softly. "Help. If he keeps teasing me like this, I won't last." I'm afraid I might not hold back tonight and turn him straight. When Hurley first sat down on the sofa beside me, I didn't think much of it. But the longer he stayed, the more I felt his gaze drifting toward me every so often. "Stop looking at me. Isn't SpongeBob more appealing than me?" But he clearly couldn't hear my inner thoughts. "Mr. Hurley, is there something on my face?" By the 45th time he glanced my way, I couldn't hold back anymore. I'd already watched the last 5 minutes of this SpongeBob episode, but under his gaze, I replayed those 5 minutes countless times without catching a single word of what came after. "Can we talk some time?" He stared at me, his expression serious. That look instantly transported me back to the moment I first saw him at the amusement park. "What do you want to ask?" I paused the TV and swallowed hard before asking. "When we left the police station, you said you liked me. Was that real?" "Oh, that." "It was real." I nodded in response. I'd been craving him for a long time. He looked at me and exhaled softly as if a heavy weight had lifted from his heart. "The boy you met at the amusement park last time? A blind date my best friend set me up with?" I blurted out immediately. His expression darkened abruptly. Had I said something wrong? I belatedly clamped my mouth shut. It had been about 4 or 5 days since we last met at the amusement park. He hadn't messaged me at all during that time, and I hadn't reached out either. If not for this unexpected chance encounter, I felt he might have already forgotten me. "Don't you like me anymore?" he asked in a low voice. That shattered look in his eyes made me feel, for a moment, like the worst person in the world. "You don't like me either," I replied, confused. Since neither of us was into it, one of us just walked away. Shouldn't that have been a win-win for everyone? "Who said that? Wasn't it common knowledge he didn't like girls?" Noah said so. For some reason, facing his gaze made my words stumble. At the crucial moment, I chose to betray my friend. After hearing the whole story, his expression darkened further. "I like women," he clarified, enunciating each syllable. I had a premonition. Noah was doomed. "Ellie, please don't kill me." "So you wouldn't be into me, right?" After learning his orientation was normal. Clearly startled by my bluntness, "I was just saying." I started laughing awkwardly. Inside, I despised myself for asking such a nonsensical question. "Yes." Helly suddenly spoke up. "What did you say?" "I think I might actually like you." He stared at me intently. I went numb. This time completely numb. From the soles of my feet to the tips of my hair. I should go. My brain felt like it had crashed. Like a spring, I shot up from the couch with a pop and started toward the door. Wait! Helly suddenly stood up and blocked my path. Before me were his strong biceps, the very thing I'd once coveted. Back then, I couldn't get enough of staring at them. Now, for some reason, I couldn't bear to look. "I'll walk you out." After a long pause, he sighed. "No need. Jason and the others will pick me up." Frantically pulling out my phone to message Jason, I awkwardly spotted his message from over half an hour ago. "Iris, sorry." I was halfway home when I remembered you weren't back yet. "Hard to hail a cab around here." "Have your friends drive you?" "Me? Damn it." When he dropped me off earlier, he acted like it was a farewell for life. I thought he was so worried about me. In less than half a day, he'd forgotten me completely. I looked up at Helly. He was staring at my screen. Anyone with eyes could see it. "Let's go." He grabbed his keys and glanced at me. What else could I say? But as if the heavens were deliberately against me, the moment we stepped outside, thunder and lightning erupted again. At the same time, my phone started buzzing with typhoon alerts. "Why don't you just stay over tonight? It's too dangerous out there." Helly asked softly. I hesitated. Oh, your camera's still upstairs. I only fixed half of it. Camera? I smacked my head hard. Blinded by beauty, I'd nearly forgotten the most important thing. All right. Watching the sky grow darker outside, I said nothing more and agreed. Helly cooked dinner and washed the dishes. Suddenly, I felt guilty for freeloading. After dinner, Albert suddenly called. I glanced at Helly, who was sorting kitchen scraps, and swiped to answer. Are you there yet? My whole body jolted. I'd forgotten about the date. Sorry, how about we reschedule? My legs hurt. I can't make it. I apologized. Iris, are you messing with me? Albert replied sharply. No. I swear this time it really wasn't. You don't need to come. I'm not some lonely guy who can't get a date. Without waiting for my response, he hung up. This, I really could explain. When I called back, he hung up again. I opened his chat window, but as soon as I sent a message, a red exclamation mark popped up. I was speechless once more. I pulled out my phone to text Ellie, hoping she could explain for me, but then I thought maybe it wasn't necessary. Going to talk to him clearly would have led to the same misunderstanding anyway. Misunderstanding it is. Going upstairs? Helly appeared beside me out of nowhere asking. Startled, I reflexively flipped my phone face down on the sofa and nodded. He narrowed his eyes slightly, but said nothing, simply helping me up the stairs. No sooner had I settled into the guest room than he knocked. Luckily, the water damage wasn't severe. It should still work. Take a look. He handed me the camera, his voice soft. Thanks? I hadn't expected it to work. Running my fingers lightly over it, I felt a sense of recovery after loss. Is it important to you? I replied quietly, eyes lowered. Under the light's glow. I watched his hands slowly rise, then fall toward the top of my head. Get some rest. His voice was warm as he spoke, catching my breath. He closed the door for me. This is no way to toy with someone's feelings. After he left, the room fell completely silent. I turned on the nightlight, placed the camera on the bedside table, and slowly lay down. Listening to the patter of rain outside, my thoughts began to stir restlessly. This camera was a gift from my mother. Our family wasn't poor. From childhood, my father tried to raise me like a proper young lady, enrolling me in tea ceremony and flower arrangement classes, hoping I'd marry into an even wealthier family someday. But I didn't like it. My only passion was photography. No one supported me back then, not even my grandfather. Only my mother encouraged me, secretly buying me this camera behind my father's back. She was the gentlest woman I've ever known in this world. Yet she still couldn't escape illness. Whenever I went out to shoot, even though I rarely used this camera, I always brought it along. It felt like Mom was still by my side. The next morning, I barely opened my bedroom door when I bumped right into Helly. Why are your eyes red? He stepped closer, concern etched on his face. Nothing. I hurriedly avoided his gaze and went downstairs. During breakfast, perhaps sensing I didn't want to talk, he didn't press me further. But his furrowed brow never relaxed after breakfast. The rain had stopped outside. Yet the sky remained overcast, not a single car passing by. In the end, Helly drove me back. No chasing, no burdens. I stopped pretending to be poor. I gave him my real address. Can you make it upstairs on your own? At the bottom of the stairs, Helly opened the car door and asked. I nodded. Using his arm for support, I stepped out. Once steady on my feet, I looked up at his calm face and finally spoke. I'm not as poor as I made myself out to be. I tentatively asked him. I started suspecting when you said the agent took you to view apartments for a month. Why didn't you call me out? I pressed further. You didn't really deceive me about anything, did you? He gave a bitter smile. Me. I wanted to say something, but didn't know what to say. I truly wasn't after money. I was after sex. He hadn't even touched my hand, but something fell off. If he'd been pretending to be poor to get close to me, I should have at least been angry, right? This was absurd. Actually, I wish you kept lying. Helly suddenly spoke up. I looked at him in confusion. At least that would prove you care about me. I wanted to shove back the neurology hospital website he'd pushed at me earlier. Should I head up now? I pointed toward the residential complex and asked him, Iris, do you have a heart? He suddenly closed in on me. I stumbled backward uncontrollably, my back slamming against the car window. You were the one who flirted with me first. Why did you sentence me to death the moment I opened my heart to you? He braced himself against the car, trapping me in the small space held within his embrace. You... I lowered my head, wanting to escape but finding nowhere to run. Didn't I know you liked me back then? I thought you weren't interested in me. My truest thoughts spilled out completely. You knew yesterday, yet you still avoided me. He gave me no chance to gloss over it. I couldn't tell if it was his law background, but he could dissect even the slightest hint to its core. I just confessed today, and he'd already pieced together my actions from yesterday. What else do you want to ask? There was no avoiding it. I decided to go all in. I just want to know who's in your heart right now, or if there's no one. He gently lifted my chin, forcing me to meet his gaze, leaving me no room to evade. You're not my boyfriend. Why should I tell you? I turned my face away, looking elsewhere. For some reason, I couldn't bring myself to look into his eyes. The depth of emotion in them made me want to retreat. Because if there's no one, I want to pursue you. After a long silence, he whispered softly in my ear. Whether there was someone in my heart, I couldn't even say for sure myself. If I said no, the image of him shielding me with his back that day kept flashing through my mind. If I said yes, I refused to admit it. Ailey, let's go drink. Frustrated by my confusion, I texted my bestie in the middle of the night. Noah won't let me. She replied instantly. If you don't go, I'll spill all your childhood crush stories to Noah. 3 seconds later. Damn it, Iris. Give me half an hour to get him to sleep. How long? Half an hour. Bar. How much have you had? My bestie arrived, saw the 7 or 8 empty bottles in front of me, and nearly scared the life out of herself. If you come any later, they'd be taking me to the hospital. I burped as I stared at her. Before I could utter that unlucky word, she rushed over and covered my mouth. God knows when someone will finally take you off the market, you jerk, she said indignantly. What's bothering you now? After taking the glass from in front of me and replacing it with ice water, my bestie finally sat down beside me and asked, I don't know. I stared at the silhouettes of men and women swaying under the light ball, my mind a complete mess. It's men. She delivered the verdict with finality. You're the one who wants men. I snapped back, though a strange sense of guilt crept into my heart. Just look at your face. I knew I was right. So what if you've got your eye on a guy who doesn't like women? If you want him, go for it. There's no such thing as a man you can't handle, only women who don't try hard enough. Ailey slapped the table, pumping me up like she'd injected herself with adrenaline. No, he likes women, I said weakly. He even said he likes me. I flopped back onto the couch, completely defeated. Then why? You wouldn't still be rejecting men because of that disgusting thing your dad did, would you? Ailey looked at me with exasperation. I couldn't deny it. I nodded. Before my mom passed away from illness, I always believed my parents were a perfect match, a fairy tale couple who'd supported each other from humble beginnings to where they were now. But then, when I was 15, right after my mom died, he remarried and brought his mistress and her son into our home. My entire world collapsed. Her son was only 2 years younger than me. At first, I rejected romance altogether. Later, during my rebellious teenage years, I experienced the feeling of liking someone. I adopted a no marriage, just dating approach. If anyone started declaring undying devotion, promising eternal love, I'd end things immediately. I never imagined Helly would like me. But when he actually said it, I suddenly realized I couldn't be as nonchalant as I had been when ending things with other guys before. If you like him, go for it. Guys like your dad are the exception. Look at my Noah, there are plenty of good men out there. Ellie urged me, but I was still afraid. Let me think about it. In the end, I chose avoidance again. In the past, those relationships would fizzle out as I kept running away. But This time, Hot Springs Manor in or out? Seeing the message from Allie, I covered my phone in confusion. Somehow, she and Noah had inexplicably taken on the role of matchmakers. Lately, they've been setting up all kinds of gatherings, and every time I go, Helly is always there. He even asks me questions about photography using his expert knowledge. Those clumsy questions. I could tell they were copied from the internet, but I still answered, "No time." I replied to Ailey, "Truth is, I'm off today with nothing planned. It's just that we've been meeting too often lately, and Helly seems to be getting better at reading me. I'm starting to dread seeing him. At noon, I ordered takeout to get by. It tasted utterly bland. There he goes again." After quickly finishing my meal, I lay back down to nap, but I kept staring at my phone screen. Scrolling left and right, no messages came through. I sadly realized, without that good afternoon, I couldn't even sleep properly. "Helly, damn it!" From a distance. I roared like a lioness and charged over, startling both of them. "Iris! Freeze!" Helly snapped out of it, surprise turning to delight on his face, as he started toward me, only to be halted by my command. "You big liar. You said you liked me. But here you are chasing after me while flirting with other girls. How are you any different from the old me, you jerk?" Peck, approximately tilde. As I glared at Helly with resentment, someone suddenly planted a kiss on my cheek. "You?" The girl Helly had just been petting smiled at me. She didn't seem to think kissing me was the least bit wrong. Despite all my past relationships, this was the first time anyone besides my mom had kissed me on the cheek, and it was my love rival. I suddenly felt flustered. Seeing my reaction, the girl leaned in for another kiss. "Don't move." I scrambled backward. "Hazel, stop it." Helly stepped in front of me, blocking her from me. "Hi, I'm Hazel, his sister. My brother talks about you all the time. Seeing you in person for the first time, I couldn't help myself. Sorry, really sorry." She leaned her head to the left, looking apologetically at me, who was completely shielded behind Helly. "It's fine." I suddenly felt incredibly awkward. "You too, chat. I won't be the shining third wheel." Hazel winked at Helly and vanished in an instant. She's been studying in Europe and just came back for summer break. She's used to expressing affection enthusiastically, which is why she kissed you without asking. "Don't take it to heart, she meant no harm." After she left, Helly hurried to explain to me, "I'm not angry. To be honest, I kind of liked his sister's personality." "Then why did you charge over here looking so fierce just now?" Helly trailed off, suddenly realizing something. "You weren't jealous, were you?" He smiled at me. "Like how?" I nervously avoided his gaze. "It's fine. I can wait as long as I'm in your heart." He smiled like a fool, as if he hadn't heard my earlier words. "Helly, what do you even like about me?" I looked at him seriously. From start to finish, I felt I'd only deceived him. I didn't believe he could become so indispensable to me in such a short time. "I don't know either. I just feel so relaxed and happy when you're around. Before, I never bothered replying to messages, but now when I see it's you, I can't wait to respond." That explanation. "Do you think it's possible you just like humorous people, not me specifically?" I ventured a guess. "I'm 30. He was so annoyed he playfully whacked my forehead. "So what?" I rubbed my head. It really hurt, okay? Seeing me in such pain, regret flashed in his eyes. He moved to rub my head for me, but I dodged him. "With my great qualities, you think no one chases me?" he said helplessly. I stared at him steadily, gesturing for him to continue. Let's see what story he comes up with. "But you're the only one who makes my heart race." I thought, I might really be losing it here. When Noah and the others told me you didn't have anyone in your heart, I was so happy. "I know you have emotional baggage, so I won't pressure you. I'll wait for you." Emotional baggage. Ellie, my best friend, spilling everything. No need to wait. Let's try now, I exhaled deeply, calming myself. Holly snapped his head up to look at me. There's a condition, I quickly prefaced. If you just want to play around, we can talk like this. But if you want a lifelong relationship with marriage as a goal, you have to hand over everything, your houses, cars, all movable and immovable property, and your bank card passwords. I took a deep breath and delivered it all in one go. I was afraid I'd lose my momentum if I paused. What do you say? I raised an eyebrow at him. Holly looked troubled. I knew it men are all scumbags. Fine, but you have to wait for me. I haven't even counted how much money I have right now. Seeing him about to grab his phone to tally his assets, I quickly pressed down on his hand. Not now. Just give it all to me after we're married. Handing over all his money after just a few words, he must be a real simpleton. So, am I your girlfriend now? He clasped my hand back, his expression flushed with excitement. No. I pulled my hand away with a pout. You haven't said you like me yet. I like you. That was lightning fast. I glared at Helly like he was a disappointment, but my heart was pounding so hard it felt like it would burst out of my chest. Oh, my girlish heart. I like you too. After a long pause, I finally mumbled the words. He looked at me, stifling a laugh, his face flushed. Go ahead and laugh. I snapped back. He couldn't hold it anymore and laughed freely. Got plans this afternoon. What's up? Let's go to the hot spring resort. I looked at him and said, to spread some love? To really annoy that pair of lovey-dovey jerks, Ailey and Noah, who flaunt their affection in front of me every day. Sure, he murmured, his tone oddly obedient. Let's go. My face flushed as I turned away. On the way to the parking lot, he quietly took my hand, interlocking our fingers. I can't back down. Thinking this, I reached out with my free hand and grabbed his bicep. Wait here, I'll get the car. Before I could even touch it twice, he pulled my hand away and dashed off. Watching his frantic retreating back, I couldn't hold back my laughter. But just as I was doubled over laughing, he came back. Put this on. He took off his jacket and draped it over my head to shield me from the blazing sun, gazing at his back as he walked farther and farther away again. I thought that person might just be him.